Alright guys, so today I'm going to go over the pros and cons for the four most popular retro formats currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which are GOAT, Edison, Tengu, and Hat format. At least that's what I've been told. I was told that these tend to be the four most popular online. Uh, so the reason I'm making this video is because they announced the YCS Vegas in March, and it's going to be a 3v3. And last year, when the YCS in Vegas was 3v3, they did obviously a side event, the Ultimate Time, which was also 3v3, but we did three different formats, which was player A was GOAT, player B was Edison, and player C was Tengu. So I've heard rumors that they may replace Tengu format. I don't know which one. It might be, I've heard Toss format. It could be Hat. I don't know. We'll see. I think they're going to go based on the side events pods, the 8-man pods that they run at every event. I think they're going to go based on what the three most popular ones are, which we know GOAT is is the second place to Edison. So those two will be in for sure, most likely. And who knows what the third will be. And yeah, if you're planning on going, I highly recommend it because it was one of the most fun events I ever played in. I was playing Edison, so I sat in the middle. I got to watch my friend Jimmy play GOAT and my friend John play Tengu. And I'm gonna go again. Like I'm looking forward to it. It was so much fun. And shout out to Patrick Rowe for recommending me making this video. Now, obviously, I know Edison pretty well. I played for a year. I upload videos daily on Edison. So that's the one I know the most. And all of this is just my opinions. Now, GOAT, I don't have as strong an opinion because I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! At that time. And I've never really even played it for fun. So GOAT is based on what people told me and just me looking at it from the outside looking in when it comes to GOAT. Now, Tengu and Hat, I don't know as well, but I did play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! At that time. I attended YCS Kansas City in 2011. I had, Billy Break was at my locals at that time, so I watched him play when he won back-to-back YCS, so I know that format really well. And Hat, I went to that Nationals. My friend Jimmy Nguyen went to Worlds during that format, and I tested with them a lot. So, yeah, I know those well. But now, obviously, I didn't, now people have had years to explore those formats, so I'm not as, well-versed as some of those guys who've been practicing those two formats for years. Again, this is just my opinion. So, we'll start off with GOAT, since it's the oldest and the one I have the least knowledge of. So some of the pros for GOAT is the early Yu-Gi-Oh! Nostalgia, obviously. It's like all the old school cards like Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, Delinquent Duo, BLS, Ring of Destruction, Magician of Faith, so many. That's one of them. People who grew up watching the main anime, the original anime, probably love all those cards. And another pro for GOAT, it's a very skillful format from what I've been told and from what I've seen, because it's not like there is some blowouts in GOAT, but it's not as common as in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Or even in in Hat format. There's a lot more blowouts in Hat format. So that's one pro that we'll give GOAT. And now we'll go over some of the cons. The big one is it's not a very diverse format. At least this is what people have told me. It's mostly Chaos Turbo against the Warrior deck and a few others, but yeah, mostly every time I talk to someone on GOAT, they're always on Chaos Turbo, everyone. So that's why I don't think it's a diverse format. I know some people are going to argue in the comments, and if you want to go and make your arguments, I read all the comments. I would love to hear your guys' opinion, but that's just what I've seen. And I think the big thing that draws people to retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Is diversity. That's why Edison is the king of retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, and why I think Hat is also very diverse, so it might be the format that can compete with Edison just because of the diversity. Because when people play retro Yu-Gi-Oh!, they want to have many options to play from. They're like, okay, I can play this deck, I can build this deck, I can build this deck. Or I'm not sitting there playing mirror matches every round. So, yeah, diversity is huge. So it's a big con for GOAT. Another con is I think this is a con to some people, but it might not be to others, which is it's very slow. Now, people who played in that time, they might not mind the pace. But I also look at it from my locals. There's people who played in my era, which is most of my close friends. We all played from 2010, 2016, the XYC era. So for us, it's too slow. And then you have the modern players who play like 2019, 2020, and now, for them, that's like, they can't handle GOAT. They hate GOAT with a passion, because obviously, comparing modern to GOAT is it's a different game. So that's one of the cons for GOAT, I think. Unless if you played in that time, maybe to you might not mind it. Another con for GOAT is it's solved, and I do agree it is a solved format. People have been playing GOAT for more than a decade now. So yeah, they've had plenty of time to innovate the decks. Another con is the weird, outdated rulings. My friend Kelly told me, like, I know the Thunder Dragon one is kind of weird. Like, you can discard Thunder Dragon even if you don't have another target in your deck. I guess that, yeah, that's why we have the same issue in Edison with the weird, outdated rulings. I wish it would be more consistent with all the formats. All right. And then the last cons is the limited card pool. Obviously, it's 2005. We don't have, as much stuff as we do now. The decks and side decks all look identical. It's true. I looked at the list, and they're almost all the same. Occasionally a tweak here and there. All right. Now we'll go to Edison. Now we'll go to the pros for Edison. Is diversity, which is, I think, the reason why it's so popular. Now, some people argue, oh, no, Edison's not diverse, and I think they're wrong. It's that and Hat are the two most diverse formats. Like, you have Black Wings and Vayu and Frogs, but there are other decks that you can do well with. GBs are good. Amaryllis is good. Machina's good. What else? Diva Hero Beat. Zombies. There's a lot of others. Lysworn. There's a lot of decks I missed. So, yeah, I would say the diversity is definitely one of the pros. The card pool is slightly better than Go, and it is faster paced than Go. Obviously, 5 years different. We gain a lot of cards. It's faster than Go. And I guess they introduce archetypes. So that kind of makes, I'm not saying the decks in Go are inconsistent, but it's just a little different. The decks are more themed. Like Black Wings, the Shuras, and Kalutes all work together. And same thing with Lightsworn, GB monsters. Versus in Go is mostly like good cards. There's no theme, there's no archetypes in GOAT. Which some people might think that's a pro, and to me, I think it's a con. All right, so now some of the cons for Edison, I think the card pool is still too limited. It's better than GOAT, but it's not as good as Tengu and Hat's card pool. I think the format is soft. There's not as much room for innovation in Edison. We've been playing Edison for years. I know some people will say, well, the Fishborg Frog deck, but that deck's not that new. I guess that's the one argument, or the Frog Hero deck. But that deck was out, more than a year ago. So yeah, there's not much room to innovate in Edison. Like all the Blackwing lists are almost all the same, especially the pure build. They're all identical. Same thing with the Vayu list. Like I know when I upload a Vayu list, I look at it and I was like, oh, same deck. All right, and I guess priority might be a con. Like yeah, because JD and Dark Arm are so powerful thanks to priority. I still think Edison is too slow. It's one of the reasons why I play Edison, because the way I even got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Was because my friend, I remember what happened. My friend Lowe's was like, hey, Edison is picking up. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll play Edison. But if I had a choice on which retro format I would have picked, I wouldn't have picked Edison. My friend Lowe's got me into Edison, so yeah, I still think it's too slow. Now, is Edison a skillful format? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's one of the most skillful formats. Not compared to Go. I think Go is definitely more skillful. Like the Volume Mirror is not that skilled. The Blackwing Mirror is not. I guess some people would argue the Blackwing Mirror is skilled, but the Frog Mirror, no. Yeah, I don't think it's a very skillful format. It's not the worst, but it's just kind of middle range skill. All right, so that's it for Edison. Now we'll go to Tengu format. So some of the pros. This one's a big one. Is hand traps that we have in Tengu format. I love having Valor. Like I wish we had Valor in Edison. It would make it so much better. Being able to Valor Caius would be huge. So and just other cards, being able to Valor Blizzard, Sirocco maybe, Dark Arm, Judgment Dragon, a lot of stuff. So yeah, definitely hand traps. I know some people complain about Max C, but I mean Max C wouldn't even be good in Edison. I'm trying to think, what deck would you even want to Max C? But yeah, I mean, having hand traps is just nice. I like hand traps. I think now some people would say this format is not skillful, but I think the plant mirror is skillful. That's the one thing. Whereas maybe agent mirrors is not skillful and other matches aren't skillful, but I do think the plant mirror is skillful. Another pro for Tengu is I think there's still room to innovate, even though some people are working on this format online, but we haven't seen it in real life because there's not any big events. We have to see it in real life. Another pro for Tengu is we have most of the best synchros: Trishula, Hyper Librarian, Formula Synchron, Scrap Dragon. Like I wish we had Scrap Dragon in Edison. It would make Debris Dragon so much better. And obviously some of the cards that came out like Spore, a lot of different stuff. All right, and I'll say this: the decks are more consistent. You know, we have a lot of good like Tengu is just a good card. You can throw Tengu in a lot of decks. People were even using not Tengu and Tour Guide. Tour Guide is just good. Just summon Tour Guide, get Sangan, or make a rank 3. It's just the decks are more consistent. And the format's a little bit faster than Edison, so those are some of the pros. For Tengu, now we'll go some of the cons, and this is the big one for Tengu. Some people might try to argue this, but me being at Vegas last year, I saw almost everyone was either playing agents or Tengu plants. I feel like online. This is the thing about online. People are willing to take more risks online versus in a big event like Vegas. People aren't willing to take as many risks. They're not gonna go with like a deck like some of these other rogue decks. Kind of everyone at Vegas, I saw that, especially the people who did well, were on either Tengu or agents. You saw some people running the Catsif deck, but it was mostly those decks. So for now, I will say that format's not as diverse. We'll see if we someday get big in real life tournaments for Tengu, maybe that will change. And I think we're still missing some of the good XYZs in Tengu format. Like the only XYZs we had were what? Utopia, Levier, Leviathan. We didn't even have Zen main, so that is a con for Tengu. All right, and last one is Hat. The big pro for Hat is the diversity. It's along with Edison, it's very diverse. I mean, at my locals, we just started Hat format, and I've seen people play Yugioh, Sylvans, Mermail, Infernities, the Hat variants, Boojins, Fire Fist, a lot of different decks, Constellars, Evil Swarm. So yeah, it's definitely a diverse format, which is the most important thing when it comes to retro Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion. And I feel like the format isn't solved yet. There's a lot more room for innovation because we just have a large card pool. So yeah, we could go back and innovate all these decks. Another big pro for Hat is the decks are pretty consistent. Most of them, like Yugioh, they got 3 Arsenal, 3 Armors, 3 Yugioh. That's 9 cards. Yeah, it's huge. Sylvans have 3 Curry Bandit, 3 Sylvan Charity. Mermail's got Pike, Spheres, Lens. Like, yeah, all the decks are pretty consistent. And we have most of the best extra deck monsters at that time. Like all the best XYZs, Lavable Chain, Emerald, 101, Silent Arc, Dweller. Like, yeah, all the best synchros. So that's one of the pros of Hat. Now we'll go some of the cons for Hat. I think, I don't know. I miss Heavy. Like, the few games I played, it's just annoying when my opponent's going set 4 and I have to, especially Yugioh, when they go set armor, set 4, I have to grind through all their back rows. So I guess that kind of is a con. First turn soul charge decks are like Sylvans or Mermail sometimes can really just abuse soul charge. Infernities for sure abuse soul charge. Emptiness is another bad card. Like sometimes they just build a huge board and you try to fight back and they flip Emptiness. And same thing goes with Maxi. That I know some people think, oh, Maxi's not that good. Maxi is really powerful when you're trying to fight. Like, let's say I noticed it because I played it, and like every time I would get Maxi, I'm like, oh, I can't win. Like I have to fight through your either stop and you just beat me next turn, or I fight through your board. I'm gonna have to grind through your back rows, and you're gonna draw a bunch of cards. So yeah, Maxi is definitely more of a problem in Hat than Tengu, because Maxi only really hurts the Tengu plant deck. Versus a lot of these decks get hurt pretty bad by Maxi, like Sylvans, Mermails, a few others. And is Hat skillful? I don't think so. I don't think it's as skilled. I think when it comes to skill, I'm going to rank these 4. I think GOAT might be number 1 when it comes to skill. I would say Tengu is probably 2nd. Edison is 3rd. And Hat is 4th. That's just what I think. Now, how would I rank these formats? As far as fun, which deck is the most fun, and which format is the most fun? Fun, I would say, or at least enjoyable, Hat is number 1. It's the most enjoyable. It has a diversity. So, and like going first and like having like a lot of plays makes it fun. I feel the beauty about Hat is like, it's faster than the other 3, but it's not too fast like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. And I think that's the one beauty of hats. So I think it's the most fun out of the four. And then second, this one's tough. Is it Tengu or Edison? I don't know. I would have to. Maybe I'm burnt out from Edison. I think at a big event, it might be more fun to play Edison, so I'll give Edison the edge because I'm trying not to be biased because I've been playing Edison for a year. But if you go to a big event, I would say Edison versus if we were to play at a large Tengu format tournament in real life where people are not gonna be wanting to take as many risks, I would say Edison would be more fun. Versus if I go and I play Tengu, I'm gonna be playing mostly mirror matches, agents, maybe occasionally I'll run into the cat sit deck or TGs. So yeah, I would think Edison is more fun, and then Tengu would be third, then Goat would be fourth. All right, guys. If I missed anything, let me know. Let me know your opinions on the pros and cons of these formats. So, uh, I hope that these other formats. Well, obviously, Goat has a following, so does Edison. But I'm really hoping that the Yu-Gi-Oh community pushes Tengu and Hat because I think it's good to play. I hope we have a competitive scene for more than one format instead of just Edison because eventually I think people will get burned out from Edison. Anyways, let me know your comments below what you guys think. Any pros and cons I missed. I made this video really quick, so yeah, let me know what you guys think. Any pros and cons for each format and rank them. What you think. What's your favorite out of the four? Again, I went number 1, Hat. Number 2, Edison. Number 3, Tengu. And number 4, Go. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon for our Hat tournament. Bye, guys.